Hey everyone, I'm here with Sharon Langshaw from Australia. So what time is it there in Australia right now?
It's 8:09
8:09 a.m. Yeah.
in winter.
In the what?
Winter.
Winter time, yeah. So it's hot in New York. It was probably about 35 degrees today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, hot. And so hi Amanda. Thanks for coming on. Amanda lives in the UK. She's one of the new subscribers to the MENO system. We're excited to have her in the group. So if you're watching, please check in and say hi. So Sharon's going to talk a little bit about her experience with the MENO system. And so let's just go ahead and start, what's your name, where you're from, what's your background? We'll start with that.
Okay. So my name's Sharon Langshaw, and I live on the Gold Coast in Australia, which is one of the beautiful parts of the world. Not so cold here. Maybe about 22 degrees Celsius during the day, so it's really lovely and not too cold at night.
Yeah.
And what I do is I do a couple of things. So I write a blog called The Menopause Effect, and I also am a recovery coach for families who have a loved one that suffers from addiction. So I do that too, and work with other people in that recovery space as well.
That's great. Listen, Amanda just wrote that she's normally asleep by now, but she stayed awake to watch this.
Oh, yay!
So, thanks, Amanda, for doing that. So, so I guess I want to know, like, for somebody who's on the fence, who is thinking about enrolling in the program, what was your biggest trepidation before you signed up?
I think because I'd had an experience of not being able to, I'd gone down the road before of, or actually like going right back, I didn't realize I was in menopause.
Right.
And so I didn't know until I did a data analysis project around menopause. I do that too. And I had read all the comments and things that women were experiencing, and then I started realizing in hindsight, that I'd been in menopause for quite a long time, but because I no longer had periods because of a medical thing, I didn't notice that I didn't have, I didn't notice that there were changes in my body. And I actually realize now I've probably been in menopause for a good perimenopause certainly was in my early 40s. So I'm 54 now. So yeah. I didn't, when you don't notice until you notice, and then that's all you can think about, and you can't stop, staring at everything and thinking, oh, holy moly, So I did this research on menopause. I'd previously thought I was insane and been to doctors. Nobody had ever said, what's your hormones levels like? And except one doctor said, I don't know, in 2013, oh, hooray, you've been through menopause. And I went, oh, hooray, great. What does that mean? And that was nothing after that. Go do this, go do that. And it wasn't until I'd done this work for a client, I'd also have a friend, she started telling me about her experience. And then I heard about you, and, all the jigsaw pieces started coming together. And in the last 3 years, I'd tried going on bioidentical hormones. That made me insane, and pimples all over my face. And I put on more. I know. And then my husband, he thought, oh, maybe I need hormones too. So he went crazy as well, and everybody was mad in our house. And
so then, just imagine, it's just like everybody's like,
I tried taking I can't remember the words. That's one of my biggest problems, is losing words all the time. But I started taking something else, and then that just kept me awake all night, like I was, taking party drugs to dance all night, so none of that worked. And so then I said, oh, maybe I want to try HRT. and because I'd heard about it, and then well, the doctor said, "No, sorry, because I've got familial high cholesterol. Doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't come down. So you have to watch all that stuff." But anyway, so I couldn't take HRT either, and I was glad about that in the end, because I'd heard some scary stories about other women that had HRT. So then you and I met in a online community, and I started looking at your stuff and following you for a while. And then I thought, well, you know what, I could either just go all in or not at all. And in Australia, we have a different healthcare system to you. So our public health system is really good, really free, but certain drugs
Really free. I like that.
free. A lot of it free.
It's not
And,
really free though, because you probably pay more taxes.
maybe, yeah, probably. So we went to, I couldn't do much else except, I started to look at the figures. Well, what would it spend, like bioidentical hormones? If you went through that in Australia, you're paying about $100 a month for just taking that. Whereas I was eating food all the time because I have to stay alive. That usually works that way. And then, and so I started looking, well, food is medicine. I'd been into that years ago and had forgotten. Like, you forget all the things that you do in your 20s and 30s and 40s, don't you?
I just want to interrupt you for a second, and first of all say hi to Christine, and secondly say that's a very similar story to what Christine's was that she used to know how to make herself happy and how to, that sort of thing, and as life happens to us, we tend to forget. And one of the things that we try to do is remind people that those things that you learned back then, they may not be something that you want to let go. Just like the dream that you had when you were 17 years old, maybe something that you want to pick back up. So anyway, so back to your story.
Yeah. So, and in my life, I had a lot of things in place to support my mental health, because I'm a person in recovery. So I'm going to need to be under that all the time, So you don't put me down the pub drinking because of menopause, because it's not going to be a good look. So I had to reassess, and so I came across your work, and I was looking at it, and being a researcher myself, I knew how much time you would have put into it. Like, this is years worth of research that you've done, which is amazing. And so what I did was I started following you, and then I just thought, what the hell, I can just go and do the course and see how it turned out. And I was module 1, if nothing else, it's worth it completely, because the way that you break down the hormones, and like, my hubby's a student nurse, and so he can talk about that stuff all day, every day, and even he said, oh God, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So
wow.
Yeah, that module 1 was completely worth it, because it just made all the doors open up in my mind and understood. I thought I was clever and could understand that stuff, but it made it simple, really easy, that you don't need a PhD to understand what the hell's going on in your own body, which is hard for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I wanted to, it's as a doctor, right? I mean, I'm 16 years into training, and it's hard to put something together in a way that makes it make sense, and so I really wanted to spend a lot of time doing it in a way that was informative but easy to understand.
Mm.
And so that's why module 1 is the first thing, is like, what's happening to my body, and am I having another puberty? because it does feel like that, but it's this puberty, the secret society that no one ever talks about. So let me just shout out to a couple people here. If you're watching the broadcast, please check in and let me know you're here. Let us know you're here. I'm going to be talking to Sharon tonight all about her experience with the MENO system, and how it changed her life. And if my my voice sounds different, or I don't have the audio quality isn't as usually what you're used to, because I'm not downstairs in my studio at my house. I'm actually in my clinic, my office, my surgical office, wearing my surgical stuff. See, it says Dr. Gordon. Whoops, other side, Dr. Gordon there. Um, so today was a work day in the practice. So let us know you're here so we can shout out to you. Um, so Sharon lives in Australia. It's like 8:20 in the morning there, and it's 6:20 in the evening here, and it's after midnight, or probably 11:20. Hi, Marion, in England. So PM. So we're all over the world, and it's so exciting that we have the technology that we can all be together at once right here on Facebook.
Mm.
so 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 you really liked module one, but what was your, like, did you have a big like some sort of breakthrough or aha from taking the program?
Yeah, I had quite a few. So the module around the food and supplements and changing diet and everything was just looking at what I could implement next, little pieces. And so one of the suggestions for you, because I was one of the people with, like joint pain, mainly in my hands and elbows, knees and feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started taking flaxseed, adding flaxseed to a smoothie each morning. And in a couple, I don't know how, I didn't actually keep a diary of what day I started, but within 2 weeks anyway, I started getting pimples in my hair, which
Oh,
sounds horrible. Like, that sounds ridiculous. That I don't have them anymore. But
uh-huh.
what I knew was that from my experience of being on the bioidentical hormones, something was happening because my body started producing pimples. And
Okay.
so I use that as a sign, because my body will give me a sign if there's something going on. So the pimples were a sign. They're in my hair, not on my face, so I didn't really worry about it too much. But it was really a celebration, because I thought, oh wow, something was actually happening. And so I got this physical thumbs up from my body saying the phytoestrogens were starting to do something, and the nutrients. I also stopped, reduced the sugar, and that made a big difference too to my brain fog and some of the craziness that was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So one of the things I like to say when I talk to women in the morning, as I say, when we're managing something naturally, we cannot expect immediate results. One of the things that modern medicine has trained people to do is to expect immediate results, and that's like the fast food society, right? And so
Mm.
we run through we run through the pharmacy, or we go wait for Amazon to drop something off, and it's like the next day, or it's in a few hours. And when we're looking at really treating our bodies the best way that we can, we have to expect that it's going to take some time, and we
Yeah.
are not trained to learn how to take time to get results. And so it's good that you stuck with it and you got a result. So that's good. What's another breakthrough or aha that you had?
I really love the mindset module as well, because and the knife skills.
Life skills. Yeah, so there's a bonus in the program, because we do talk a lot about nutrition and food as medicine. And so what I did was I took a camera, and I had a chef teach us how to use a knife.
Yeah,
And
that was
you may
crazy.
you may think you know how to use a knife, but until you see a chef show you how to do a julienne, it still blows me away every time I watch that, or every time she teaches me how to do it, because I still can't do it on my own, so so that
Yeah,
and that was something you were able to take after watching that and going straight into your life.
yeah, yeah, and then also the mindset stuff. So because I've been a coach and I've done mindset stuff for a long time, and in recovery, it's all about your head and the
Sure.
crazy in there. Your mindset stuff was stuff I hadn't seen it before, and I loved it. It was really refreshing. It's very simple, easy to do, and really makes a difference to a lot of people, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard because it's kind of a buzzword right now, mindset. And so people get like turned off right away when they hear mindset. And so what I want to say to anybody who's watching and it might be on the fence about whether the program is right for them is to say that it's called mindset, but what it really is transformation, and it's transformation in how we view everything. It's not just menopause. Hi, Lucy. It's not just it's not just menopause symptoms. It's really how we look at our whole life, because sure, I'm marketing, or working with a group of women who are in menopause because I found menopause to be so hard. I wanted to help ease other women's suffering. But at the end of the day, it's really about how can we become our best selves, and that's what I talk about in my morning broadcast and in the podcast. And so I want you to, if you're on the fence about it, I think that, and Christine is here watching. Christine had a big shift as well, because of that module, and so that's just something I want to mention, that it's called mindset, but it really is life. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't teach us. And this stage of life is, my life looks nothing like it did 10 years ago. Nothing. I don't even look like I did 10 years ago. So, and once upon a time, we could, like the positive aging movement, which is what your work promotes, is that this
Yeah.
positive conscious aging and going forward is all about that, isn't it? Like reinventing ourselves in this new, fresh way. And your work introduces that to a lot of women, because it's not a death sentence. It's actually a
Yeah.
new, it gives hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so funny to think that, I mean, one of the things that Samantha said the other day, was that she thought that she was heading toward her 50s, and she thought that she was going to be old, and then she came upon this work, this program, and realized that she doesn't have to feel that way, because life is all about the kind of the stories that we tell ourselves. And
Mm.
so yeah, it was really fun to put together. It was fun. I mean, it was fun to research, but it wasn't fun to be not feeling well. It was great once I kind of cracked the code for myself, and then I was able to, kind of put it all together. But it was really great the way that all came together, and it's even better to be able to spend time every week with the
Mm.
ladies, helping them. And what happened with one of the ladies is that I watched her through the 8 weeks of the program. Now the program was sold initially as a 6-week program, and
Mm.
that's the cohort you were in. And I ended up taking it out 2 more weeks, because I wanted to make sure that everybody had an amazing experience. And so it's an 8-week program, and there's 1 week off for implementation, and that's just because I don't want to overwhelm. The whole idea is to not overwhelm. And what I watched her every week, and this happened not just with this one, but this woman it was really, really, really
Mm.
profound, and that was Lori. And her face, she went from being kind of scowly to being much happier, and it was a testament to the power of the work. And not to
Mm.
toot my own horn or pat my own back, but I was pretty excited about that, because I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, and to see that it impacted so many women so profoundly was humbling. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. And I like how in one of the talks that or on Facebook, or maybe in the group, you talk about the focus for women as being, thin and young, and the reality of the situation is, yeah, we weren't designed to be that way for our whole lives, and we do live longer. And so to be able to enjoy these extra years that we get,
yeah.
for all sorts of reasons, to enjoy it, and live with freedom and peace of mind in our mind, is,
I'm going to write that down in the comments.
yeah.
Freedom and peace of mind.
Mm.
That's key. That's really huge. And
Mm.
who wants freedom and peace of mind?
Yeah.
You know, I was talking this morning on my Facebook Live, and I was saying about how I'd started my practice. So I'd been through undergraduate and graduate. And Christine's like, yes, undergraduate, and that was 6 years. And
Yeah.
then I took a year off, and then Amanda's like, me, yes. And then I took a year or 2 years off, and my son got sick and got leukemia. And then I went to medical school while he was sick and getting chemo. And then I did 5 years of residency. Patricia says, me, yes, I want freedom. I want freedom and peace of mind. And so I started my practice. And so I had been so razor focused. It was like everything from my head right here. It was like, this is all I want, I want, I want. And then all of a sudden I had this huge letdown. I was like, well, I'm not happy. I worked for this goal, and I knew I was supposed to be happy when
Mhm.
I met that goal, and I wasn't happy. And so that's what I talked about this morning. And through the research that I did for this program, I was able to find freedom and peace of mind. And you
Mm.
put it so succinctly. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So before deciding to enroll in the program, did you have a skepticism before you signed up?
Yeah, I did. And because we're bombarded with stuff in this world that we live in. You know, our grandmothers didn't have to put up with all the BS that we
Yeah,
bombarded with. And so I think it can, all the shouting that's out there, we can really get lost in it. And the male-driven communities as well, there's sort of what I liked, and I wasn't necessarily skeptical of the fact that you were a woman and you were a doctor. Those things ticked the boxes. They were good.
sure.
But because I'd been working in the digital area for quite a while now, I was really like, I'm quite, I can smell a rat nowadays. And so
Right.
I kind of had that mindset of it. But, when I started watching the stuff and engaging, and then when I realized, well, I could spend all this other money going here and there and naturopaths and the whole thing, or I could just do this now and see what I could tip the balance for myself, see if I could do that. And so that's really, when I got into it, I was really surprised at my own, at how negative I had been, because I'd been disappointed, right? I'd been disappointed before.
Sure.
So I wasn't. The end result was I wasn't. And module one, it was like, yes, something. Because I'm information hungry all the time. I'm starving for knowledge, and the information out there in the world is not rich with detail.
Right.
It's like, come here, give me $200 and we'll make it all go away. But yours is rich with detail and support. And so I did module one. You had me at, module one. Hello.
Oh, that's good. So I just want to ask you a question. Like, you said that you had gone to, doctors, you tried HRT and you tried bioidenticals and you tried different supplements. How much money do you think you spent on all that?
I reckon, I think I probably would have spent $2,000
2000 Australian, 2000 US.
Australian,
Okay.
and because maybe more, maybe three, because I had to find the doctor, right, who was a
Yeah.
functional medicine guy who wanted to listen to me for an hour,
Right.
which is a thing that in this, finding someone that will listen to you for a period of time that's not 10 minutes and here's $100. So I had to find him. I had to tell him all my stuff, had to then do all the, then I had to do the saliva tests and the blood test. I don't know. You could probably say $3,000, which would be $2,000 US.
Yeah. So $2,000 US, and that's not even close to what we're charging for the system. And it's so funny because there's a lot of women say, I can't afford it, right?
Mm.
I always ask them, the question I ask is, well, what's your life going to be like if you don't buy? And, how much money are you going to spend on supplements or pills, potions, and powders trying to solve this problem when, we've got a solution for you, and it's an online program.
Mhm.
And you can take it at your own leisure, and then if you implement it, if you take the steps that I lay out pretty clearly, with homework, just like, you know, are you going to, you are going to get results. So if you take the steps that we lay out, things are going to happen for you. So that's and it's so funny being live because I had something else I wanted to say and it went right by me. So yeah, so that's something I think to really think about is that, how much money will you spend looking for solutions? Uh,
Yeah.
when we're looking at the program, if you pick the 6 pay option, that's like less than $100. It's about 81 pounds a month for 6 months, and that's to get a solution that works plus a 90-day guarantee. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. And the other thing I think is important that because we can't concentrate for more than a nanosecond these days, your just the content and the length of time as well is nothing's too long, so you don't have to go, oh bloody shut up, Michelle, I can't stand it anymore. You know, you can just, and you can pause it. A lot of things you can't these days, and so those little things, the care that you've put into that, I really appreciated because it meant that I could get up and make a cup of tea or whatever, and then come back to it or rewatch it or all of that stuff. It's available for, you can go back and forwards as many times as you like. Yeah.
Now that's one thing that Sam said when I was talking to her. She said, I got to go back and listen to blah blah blah. I don't remember exactly what she said, but
Yeah.
I oh, you go back and listen to it again. And I was, and that's what's great is that, you always have access to that whichever one you buy. Obviously as we grow, we're gonna do even better. We're gonna do, bigger and better things. And so there may be some sort of a cost involved later on, but right now you get access to the version you buy forever as long as it's up. And that's
Yeah.
that's a real big plus because if how much time would you say that you spent every week just going through the program materials?
I don't know. It's not that much really when you think about it. But I can't even remember how long each lesson was. But I'm one of those learners where I'll listen and understand, and then I'll take a little while to let the information settle, and then I'll go back to it maybe. So I don't think I spent 2 hours a week, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't even think that the lessons lasted that long. I tried to keep the lessons between 5 and I think the longest lesson in there is 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
I really, but average is about 6 to 7 minutes per lesson, and then there's an average of about 4 lessons per module, and up to 6. But I tried to keep it simple and not overwhelmed because I'm taking this course right now, and every week it's a 2-hour thing, and it's like,
Oh,
no, come on. It's and it's so frustrating because it's like, I got to sit down for 2 hours. I mean, they didn't break it up into little modules where I can say, okay, 5 minutes, I can do it. And so that's what I wanted to do is I really took, you know, some of the best practices that I'd seen other people doing. And then I thought, what would I want if it were me?
oh,
And
oh.
one of the things I made sure was that we looked at different learning styles. And Kim, I'm going to answer your question in just a second. So we have people who are auditory so that they can listen and they can actually increase the speed if they want up to 2 times. And then there's also a browser hack I use because I listen to things at 3 times speed sometimes because I learn by listening.
Me
And then
too.
there's a visual component where the words are displayed on the screen so that anybody who is a visual learner will be able to watch the video and get the visual part. And then there's always a workbook so that you can write things down if you're a kinesthetic learner. So we tried to reach all three of those
Mm,
things. But I didn't want anyone to have to spend, 3 to 4 hours a week inside of the learning system because why? You know, I'm not looking to make another Facebook. you know, it's not for a time sink. It's to give you the information that you need so that you can go out and apply it in your life, and your life is better and it becomes yours again. So, Kim, you say, I think we feel bad sometimes because of the food we eat, and you are exactly 100% right. I do agree with that. And that's why we spend 3 weeks on nutrition. We spent 3 full
mm,
weeks on nutrition. and one of those weeks is getting off of sugar. Kim says our food is way different now than when it was for our grandparents. They didn't have all that crap sprayed on it. And you're right. I don't disagree with you, and I do discuss that. I discuss that pretty much really in detail inside the course, and we talk about what to eat, what not to eat, that sort of thing. So I encourage you to go and take a look at the course, and I'll put the link in a little while. It's actually right here. It's on the screen. So if you want to get the course, it's right there on the screen as well. You can go to that link. So you had a couple of ahas, right? You really understood your hormones.
Yeah.
You addressed your joint pain with phytoestrogens. Were there any other type of aha kind of thing that happened for you, other than like the way you thought?
Yeah, I started doing more because I've always walked, right? Be a walker. I was a runner years ago, but now I don't feel like running so much anymore.
Sure.
And where I'm living at the moment is I'm 50 meters from the beach. And so I started spending more time, it was just the reminders to do the things that are good for us again, and to also remind me to, so it's almost like because you're popping up all the time and I'm seeing you, it's like, oh, damn it, that Michelle.
Trying to remind you to do the things that are good for you.
Yeah, and also the other thing was I started not talking about with friends as well about what was going on for me, and also, have you thought about doing this for yourself? And I'm sorry about the mowing guy.
No, it's not.
I think just opening the conversation up, that was, even though I knew that, and we started a blog, a friend Trudy and I started a blog, the Menopause Effect, and trying to help women. I don't think I was talking about it as much in my own life. So I started talking about it and lifting the lid on the secrecy of this, secret women's business, as if it was this terrible life sentence. And so I changed my attitude towards it, and that, well, maybe I can flip this thing around and think, well, am I lucky that I lived this long to go through menopause?
Sure.
And what's on the other side? And so changing the way I felt about that was
yeah.
My attitude adjustment was a really important thing for me as well. And that's different to mindset, isn't it? Because it's like,
sure is.
Who am I when I'm, I take the show of Sharon on the road? Who am I when I go out there? And so it was about being proud, because we're kind of on the cusp, aren't we? People born in the 60s and early 70s, we're on that cusp of changing. Like, my girls don't think the way I do about anything.
Yeah.
And it's so we're lucky. We're in that, if we can change our attitude to be more like these younger women now, that carry the wisdom of all the years and the history and the experience, and also the need to not have to apologize for no longer menstruating. Like,
right.
Yay.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is to start talking about it. I don't know why it is this secret society, and I don't know why nobody was talking about it, but I'm very outspoken, and I was like, this was happening to me, and I was like, what the F is happening into my body, into my life? And and I've got to find out. And Christine says that's exactly how I feel. Yeah. So again, I wanted to ask you, I know I started the conversation with this, but I want to go back to it again and say, for someone who's, thinking about enrolling in the program and is on the fence, what would you say to them?
Well, there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. And that can just be, salesy speak, can't it? But it's actually the truth in this case, is that nothing that you do in the menopause workshop or the MENO system is going to hurt you, unless you suddenly take a whole kilo of flaxseed. That might cause problems.
That would be weird.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
But it also, you just get opened up or reminded about what we intuitively know, is that that it is part of our own lives, and that we can be women that are women, we should be proud of it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And that's one of the biggest things that's changed for me, is I'm not ashamed of grey hair anymore. Like when I was 50, I stopped dyeing my hair because I thought, oh, screw that. Like who? So the change, the metamorphosis was slow. It was happening in the background, and I don't think I knew, but it was like the next iteration of me came through doing the menopause system. You know, the menopause system was the next iteration of me, and I kind of like her. She's all right.
Yeah, and you're supposed to like her. And
Yeah.
and what what I talked about, actually, this is so funny because this really fits into what my camera's shaking because I'm moving around. But really fits into what I was talking about this morning when I said, when you make changes in your life, the best way to do it is like these little teeny incremental changes, and you stay consistent with it. And when you're consistent with these changes, then what happens is your life changes. And when your life changes, then you're able to take more action. And when you're
Yeah.
able to take more action, then you're able to create and understand your grand vision.
Yeah.
And it's weird how that all comes together, but again, we're in this society where we think that everything should just be instantaneous. And there's no way you're going to lose 100 pounds in a day. The only way that you're going to lose 100 pounds is by drinking more water, consistently eating more vegetables and a lot less crap, and by moving your body. And you got to do that to lose 100 pounds. You got to do it for 3 years. And
Mm.
that's how it is. It takes
Yeah.
time.
And
And
not being mean, not
what's that?
being not being mean to yourself. That's one thing
Yeah.
that you talk about in somewhere along the line. And like I was at Sydney Airport the other day, and I had a Krispy Kreme
Ah,
donut and a
oh,
coffee. And because I knew I was not going to see a Krispy Kreme again where I live, there isn't any.
yeah.
And I've only probably ever had maybe 6 in my entire life. So I thought, yeah, I'll just do that now. It doesn't matter. And, I'd just been looking after my grandson. So I kind of had been doing the whole fruit thing and stuff. And I thought, yeah, it's all right. One won't kill me. So like that, going easy on yourself was part of that attitude adjustment that I think that you promote as well, is that sure, we can be good, but we don't have to have a halo on our head all the time.
True. And if we mess up, it's just an experiment. And I talk a lot
Yeah.
about how to get back on the horse. I mean, if you're not eating sugar and then all of a sudden you eat a Krispy Kreme, does that give you permission to go and eat chips and McDonald's and Burger King and everything else that's gonna like be really bad for you? And so what I try to teach is that that's just a thing that happened, but you can just go back to exactly what you were. And I was in Alaska. I was up in the Pacific Northwest from July 6th until the 22nd. And all of my food rules went away. All of them.
Yeah.
They all just out the window. Potato chips every day, buffet, eggs and bacon for breakfast. I mean, everything went out of the window. And I came home and I went back to eating the way I normally eat. And the weights just, I didn't even step on the scale because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give this a month, and I know it's going to come off and it's okay. So
Yeah.
Kim says she was thinking about my chips. Yeah, I think I put that in one of the Facebook lives. So I went to the Yukon and I went over this bridge. It's like a bridge over a ravine, and I did a video. So if you look back, I don't know what the dates are, but I think it was like it's 7:15, 7:14 through like 7:18 or something. No, let me think. It's later than that. But anyway, because we got on the cruise ship on 7:18, and so it was after that. It was like 7:21 or something. We went to the Yukon, and they had a little snack bar. And in the snack bar, they had sandwiches and they had chips. And they had chips like they were potato chips, or like in the UK they call them crisps. And they had tomato flavor, pickle flavor, original flavor, salt and vinegar flavor, plain flavor. And I got two of each. And they were $3 each. Canadian, but still $3. So it's, I spent all this money, and we ate all those damn chips. We just ate them all. And so yeah. So and it was just a time to let loose, and you know what? I had joint pain and I didn't feel like exercising. I did a couple times, but
Yeah.
that's just how it is. When you eat the wrong things, your body's going to complain. And so you have to learn how to listen to the body. And in the program, we do talk about that. Pay
Yeah.
attention to your body, pay attention to how you speak to yourself. So I've kept you a long time. We've been on for 40 minutes. So just let me ask you one last question.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you were hoping to share? Like if you had an opportunity to say anything you wanted to anyone who is considering buying the Menno system and getting in on the program, what would you say?
Well, just it that it's a gentle way to treat yourself because it takes time, which menopause takes time as well, and nothing hurts you. So I think it's the most gentle thing that you can do for yourself without having to get permission from the local doctor down the road and then write a script and do this. And by the time you get in the car and drive, you would have done all that stuff. You would have been through the first 2 modules.
Yeah, that's true. And
You
and
know, so,
yeah,
yeah, time poor. It helps you if you're time poor. It helps you even if you're money poor, because the time value of spending that little bit of money now is going to save you in 6 months' time when you're sweating up a storm at 3 a.m. and pissed off and hate everyone. That day may never come, especially if you're in perimenopause as well. Like prevention, if I could have done this 10 years ago, maybe I would have not gone through some of the stuff. Maybe, who knows?
yeah. I mean, I think I like to, relate the price of the product to the price of supplements. We
Mm,
talked about that, or the price of going to see a specialist or somebody
yeah,
who doesn't take insurance, like you were talking before. And so, at the end of the day, it's probably less per month for 6 months what you would pay on supplements anyway. And then you may find out that you don't even need those supplements after all. And you get time with me, and I'm a doctor. And who
yeah.
gets like personalized time with a doctor?
No one.
Where where you get to where they listen to you. So Christine says she loves eggs and bacon. She loves all those chips too, but she doesn't eat them regularly. Yeah, man, I'm totally a carboholic, without question, carboholic. If I have my choice, man, that's my go-to. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Sharon, thanks so much for your time. I asked earlier if anyone had any questions for you, and I didn't see any comments there. So, ladies, if you're on the fence, I don't know anyone better to explain to you what the program is like than Sharon. She really did. She did give it her all and had some amazing transformations through it. So to go ahead and get involved in the program, you can go to that link, which is in the comments right now. So Kim says, I love hearing you, Michelle. It's helped me a lot, and other people on here. Well, I'm so happy to help you, and I'd love to help you more. So go and get involved in the program, and we can see, an even bigger transformation. So, and if you're not subscribed to my podcast, please double check the podcast. I'm on iTunes and anywhere you can get a podcast, and it's called the Menopause Movement Podcast. So, Sharon, thanks so much. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time. Have a fantastic day.
I will. Thank you.
And Amanda says, thank you for giving your time, Sharon. I have found your words inspirational.
Oh,
Amanda's looking for confirmation that she did the right thing.
you
So
did.
thanks for staying up, Amanda. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot, Sharon.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Menopause Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Gordon, and I wanted to take a moment to share what one of our community members has achieved since she's been working with me. Amanda has had an amazing transformation. Amanda was struggling with joint pain, hot flashes, forgetfulness, sleeplessness, weight gain, and an angry mood. In addition, she lost her confidence and self-worth as menopause crept up on her. Since joining the Menopause Movement membership, Amanda's quality of life has improved in ways no one could have predicted. She has truly transcended the symptoms of menopause and is now living her best life. This is what I want for everyone in the community. Take a listen to Amanda's story. I just want to show you what's possible when you join the community and do the work. Transcendence is available for you too. Now here's Amanda.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I am 54 years old and I live in the UK. At this moment in time, I'm in a fairly good place in my life. Recently, I've lost 18 pounds and I feel healthier and more content than I have done in a long time. However, it hasn't always been this way. Back in October 2011, I had an accident which resulted in a serious injury and surgery and subsequently changed my life forever. And over the next few years during my recovery, menopause crept up on me, but I didn't realise what was happening straight away. I started suffering from more joint pain. I went from always being cold to feeling like I was going to internally combust several times a day. I was getting really forgetful, my sleep pattern was terrible, I piled the weight on and looked pregnant, and I felt angry all the time. When things were at their worst, I felt incredibly alone and very down. I lost my confidence and self-worth, and I felt completely misunderstood and confused about what was happening to me. I received very little support or information from my GP, and there was limited information on the internet, but what I really wanted and needed was someone to talk to. The turning point for me was at the beginning of July 2019, when completely by accident, I came across Dr. Michelle Gordon's Facebook page on the Menopause Movement. At that time, she was doing daily live streams, and I started listening to them. I related to a lot of what she was saying, and I was really interested in the variety of topics about menopause that she was talking about, the alternative ways to manage menopause symptoms in a more natural way, and how your mindset is the key factor to transforming your life more positively. I was also really interested to listen to the other ladies in the group and what they had to say. Ladies who had been or were still suffering from similar symptoms to me. How a lot of them have been able to manage their symptoms much better, and how they have turned their lives around and embraced menopause instead of treating it like a demon. Although nervous about taking a risk to join a group I didn't know, I knew that I couldn't and didn't want to carry on living my life the way I was and feeling the way I was feeling. So I made a decision that I too wanted to learn more about menopause, how to manage my symptoms better, and most importantly, learn more about my mindset and the fact that I needed help with changing my outlook on life in order for me to get it back. Life is nowhere near perfect, and some days I still have my struggles, but on the whole, I can honestly say that I am in a much better place than I have been for a long time, and for my down days, I understand better how to manage them so they don't get out of hand. I am now on a journey with a fantastic community of like-minded women, all of whom continue to support each other no matter where we all live, and I no longer feel confused, misunderstood, worthless or alone. For me, this group has been both a lifesaver and a life changer, and most importantly, the one-to-one private coaching sessions that are available with Dr. Gordon as part of the membership have been invaluable to me. They provide me with an opportunity to discuss more difficult and private issues that I am struggling with, and an opportunity to find solutions to address them. Without doubt, I can wholeheartedly say that I owe Dr. Gordon and her group everything for showing me how to take my life back and, more importantly, take control of it. Joining her membership has been the best thing that I have ever done. However, this course is not for everyone. If you're looking for a quick fix that doesn't cost you any time, money or effort, then this is not the group for you. But if you're in a similar situation to how I was not that long ago, feeling desperate and at the end of your tether, but are willing to invest in your own future happiness and peace of mind, but are unsure as to what to do, ask questions and talk to Dr. Gordon. And if you choose to take that leap of faith, you won't regret it, because who wouldn't want to take their life back if they had the chance?
If you are feeling like Amanda, you're not alone. There is help for you in the Menopause Movement membership. I want to help you transcend your symptoms and live your best life. To discover how you can become a part of this life-changing community, go to menopausemovement.com.